Hello, friends. This is Insomnia to Peace, and I'm John, the sleep coach. In part one of this video series, we went over what bedtime restriction was and how to implement it. In this video, I want to go a little bit deeper into exploring the concept, offer a variation of it, and address some common concerns that people have. So a lot of the time when people start off the sleep program, the bedtime restriction program, is that they often feel that their sleep window is far too short. Usually people start off with a sleep window of 5.5 hours or 6 hours, and there's a sense that even if they get as much, even if they spend 100% of their time asleep in bed, they will not wake up fully feeling refreshed because they're only giving themselves such a short amount of time. The truth, however, is that when implementing bedtime restriction, the sleep that people do get is usually very efficient. It's very good quality, and when they do wake up, they feel restored, or at least way more restored than they would compared to the typical fragmented, stressed out, difficult night of insomnia that unfortunately a lot of insomniacs are all too familiar with. Most sleep coaches would recommend to insomniacs, and I would agree with them, not to look at the clock during the night, as this can cause anxiety. But if we're not supposed to look at the clock during the night, how do we know how much sleep we're getting? It's not so important to have an exact amount of time down to the minute of when you fell asleep and when you woke up. Using your best guess is, in my opinion, the best way to do it. If you have a good night's sleep, if you're asleep for almost all of it, it's usually really obvious to tell that that was the case. Usually, since a lot of people respond to this therapy pretty quickly, there really isn't that much spent time being awake anyway. And the time that you are awake, it's usually not that much time, so it's pretty easy to get a ballpark estimate from figuring that out. If you have some sort of a sleep tracker, you can use that data if you want, but I wouldn't recommend buying one just for this. A lot of people have a fear that when they're following bedtime restriction therapy that if they sleep in by accident, they've ruined their sleep drive for the next night. So let's say that you slept in for an hour or two. Okay, fine, technically you did hurt your sleep drive, but only by a tiny, tiny amount. Much in the same way, like, it's almost akin to saying that if you take a sip of coffee now, you've hurt your sleep drive upwards of a week later. It's very, very, very negligible. So small that it doesn't matter. Almost always when you sleep in, it's really not that big a deal. If or when you sleep in, it's because I say when because it's almost certainly going to happen to you at some point. It's far better to let go of any anxiety and just embrace how good you feel after having such a good night's sleep. Again, the important thing here is the consistency of following your sleep window. And you'll come to find that there will be nights that even though you slept in the previous night, you'll sleep just fine the following night. And you'll end up, and those are very strong teaching moments because you're going to start to learn, oh, conditions don't have to be 100% perfect in order for me to get really good sleep. Yeah, so often insomniacs, since they're coming from such a high degree of control and trying to have such a tight rein on sleep, they really get tripped up on exactly how much time to add on to their sleep window. If their sleep window should change every week or two, or if they should add on 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and they get really strung up on that. Really, it doesn't matter so much the exact minute. I mean, we're talking about a difference of 5 or 15 minutes. It really doesn't matter. There isn't a wrong answer if you pick either one. The only wrong answer is if you consistently second guess which one you go with. Whichever one you picked is fine. And if you want to change it every week, that's fine. If you want to change every 2 weeks, that's also fine. Really, it's whatever you feel comfortable with. So a lot of people, when they start off, there's a sense of performance anxiety, knowing that they only have 5.5 hours or 6 hours or whatever to go to bed. Usually this isn't the case because a lot of people's sleep drives are so strong at this point that they'll just fall asleep relatively quickly, but it can still cause anxiety to some people. So there's a variation of bedtime restriction that's been made popularized by Daniel Erickson over from the Sleep Coach School. They call it a timeless sleep window. So what you do is you give yourself a block of time that you're comfortable allotting to sleep, but you're not necessarily spending that whole time in bed. Let me explain. Let's say that your traditional sleep window is again 6 hours. You go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and you wake up at 7 a.m. What you would instead do is you would give yourself 8 hours of a timeless sleep window. So meaning if you would go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning beforehand, you would enter your timeless sleep window at 11 a.m., 2 hours beforehand. And what makes a timeless sleep window timeless is that we do not look at the clocks. We have no idea what time it is. And during this time, we can do whatever we want. If we feel sleepy, we can go to bed. If we feel like watching TV, we watch TV. There isn't a wrong answer. It is literally whatever you want to do. And then at some point, whenever you feel sleepy enough to go to bed, you can go to bed. If you're the kind of person who gets very ramped up as you approach the start of your sleep window, let's say following that 1 o'clock in the morning guideline, if you find yourself glancing over at the clock, okay, it's 12:55, 12:56, 12:57, okay, I better go to bed. If you find yourself, if you find that you have that sort of anxiety, that anxiety builds up so much that it causes difficult night of sleep, you might prefer this method instead, where from at the start of your sleep window, we take time out of the equation and we're instead doing activities that we enjoy, whatever they want. They could be in bed, they can be on the couch, whatever, wherever, it doesn't matter. And just listening to your body. Whenever your body starts to feel sleepy and relaxed, then you can go to bed. I hope that this video was helpful for you in some way. I'm looking forward to explaining other concepts in practical exercises that we can use to overcome insomnia. If you did find this video helpful, please hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.